Welcome to the shop. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Garage Groove. We are back on the project, so we got a ton of parts and we're going to start building Sophian's bike. Let's start with the motor. So what we got here is everything set up. We got everything set up. So we got the piston, the new piston. I already put the rings on it. There's the old rings. There's the old piston. There's the new wrist pin and the circlips. That's the old cylinder. There's the new cylinder. We've cleaned the head and prepared that. And we got some essentials with us. We always keep a little bit of oil with us. I usually have a cap full oil ready. We have some assembly lube and pretty much everything we need we have by our side. So we're gonna go ahead and turn on the time lapse and we're gonna build this motor. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back everybody to Garage Groove. Today's the second day here. It got a little late last night. We were working on Sophian's vintage Chinese modern bike, I guess. So we buttoned up the motor last night, but we never did a compression test on it. So let's talk about that for a second. We already mentioned it in the last video. So after rebuilding this motor, we should be seeing at least 125 to 135 PSI. Okay, I'm not sure of the tolerances of this particular motor, but anything less than that, I would question it. You know, it will run, but I'd be disappointed. Anything over 135, 140, that's an awesome motor. That's exactly what we wanted. Now remember, we started with about 85 to about 90, I think, 90 PSI, and that's just not adequate, so we decided to build it. And I have my compression gauge thing right up, and let's get our units here. We got this out already, so we're gonna go ahead and hook that up. That's gonna go right into this plug hole. And we're going to go ahead and look at that. We are at 165 pounds of compression. That's what I'm talking about. That's an awesome motor. That's a really good motor. That's going to do him very well. It's got plenty of life in it. It's completely rejuvenated. That's what we wanted. 165 pounds. That's a little more than I expected, but that's great. We started at 92, ended at 165. That's perfect. Okay, we buttoned it up. We're gonna go ahead and turn the time lapse on and start putting the bike together. We'll see you in a bit. Faison's gonna put the muffler on it. We got a little vibrations going on because everybody, welcome back to Garage Groove, where we have done quite a bit of work to Sophian's bike. We've ran into some problems, and we'll explain some of those. But the bike overall is coming along pretty good. We're gonna have to make some, we're gonna have to improvise a little bit, but you know, we talked about this with the China stuff. You know, when it comes in, it's all a little, you know, flimsy here and there. You don't know what's gonna fit, what is. Sometimes they give you measurements, sometimes they don't. You just kind of. That's a fresh motor now. It runs beautiful. We still got to do a little bit of an oil change. I did add some fresh oil to it, but there's still some at the bottom. We're going to drain it out and put some new oil in it. So as you can see, we got a beautiful 17 horse 250cc motor. We're starting to get a bit of a classic look going on, a vintage look. But let's continue talking about this engine. So we started with a 250cc motor. Now remember, this motor does not come with the cam. It came with the push rods and the rocker arms and all of that good stuff. And we built it. We started it. We started with around 90 pounds of compression, and we ended at about 165. The motor sounds really good. It purrs like a kitten.
It sounds really nice.
We've got it all tuned up, and in fact, yeah, we haven't put the tailpiece on it. We're gonna have to cut and fabricate that a little bit. We're gonna have to cut and fabricate this a little bit. As you can see, this exhaust keeps this clutch arm from moving, so it's pinned down a little bit. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of work on that. The wheels we'll talk about in a minute. This wheel is a 15mm axle. And we have a 12mm axle. Okay, so that's a problem in the front. In the back, the axle size is the same. But the problem is that the old rotor, as you can see, is a dished. It's a dished rotor. So if you look at it from across view, right? So that's dished. And this thing is flat. So we got a little bit of clearance issues there. It's not going to line up with the caliper, right? So we're going to have to do some trimming on the wheel spacers once we get our sprocket. We're still waiting on the sprocket. We did put a 420 front sprocket on this, and we're waiting for a 420 rear sprocket. Once we get the sprocket, we're going to put the chain on it. And then once the chain is lined up, we'll be able to determine what kind of adjustments we need to do on the shim to make that caliper line up. On the front, we've got new bearings coming for the front rim that's going to accept a 12mm axle. And then we'll have to do the same thing with the front rotor to make that line up with the caliper. But we'll get it. We'll get it, and then we have to do a little bit of modification, I should say, to the exhaust to make that fit. And
wiring too.
Yeah, our wiring is a little goofy, but the wiring's on this is easy. I'll just get another starting button, and we'll get that figured out. Other than that, I mean, we're very happy with the way the bike is coming out. It's got the vintage look to it, and I think it's going to run phenomenal. It's going to be.
It looks like an old CR.
Yeah, it's got the old CR vibes, you know. So I think we're very happy with it. Sophian's pretty excited about it. But you know, I said in the beginning that this is going to be either a 2 or 3 episode project, and it looks like it's going to be a 3 episode at this moment. So we're going to leave it short, and we haven't forgot about the dyno. The thing about the dyno is we have more original parts coming. You know, this thing is a China thing, so we can slap any old parts on it. The dyno is a little bit more technical because we want to keep it correct.
Somewhat.
You know, somewhat as correct as we can. So we had to get some parts. I got a couple parts coming from Europe, so it's going to take a while. But other than that, that's next on the docket. I think we're going to have Sophian's 250cc bike done.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, hopefully next week we should have that done. And
We got a gold chain for this thing too.
yeah, we got a beautiful gold chain. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we have it, yeah, right here. We have a really nice gold chain. We have the decals. We've done it as classic as we can do it with this type of a bike. We got classic number plates on it. The other thing I'll mention really quickly is I had talked about using an old knobby. Well, we did get the old knobby. It's sitting right up there, but it was gonna throw off the look. You know, these are matching tires.
It's a nice brand new tire.
Yeah, everything matches, and we lettered them with the yellow, and it was gonna throw all that off.
And
So
this tire is a pretty gnarly tire too.
yeah, it's not a bad tire. You know,
It's a 1-inch knobby.
yeah, it's gonna get him through a lot of junk.
My XR is a little less than an inch. But
So that's where we're at with this thing. We're gonna keep moving on it. We're gonna keep you guys updated. Please like, please subscribe. We appreciate everything you guys are doing. I'd like to do more music stuff, but I see most of the my views are coming from the motorcycle guys like you. Which is awesome. We're trying to attract more music guys too, because you know we're trying to emphasize two things here on this channel. You know, it's channel the motion, channel the sound. So we got both things going on. So we will do some music stuff. I'm not sure when, but please bear with us if you're not into music. Other than that, man, thanks everything you guys are doing, all the likes and subscribes. Keep it coming. We're gonna keep things moving here. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Take care.